Και τώρα θα περάσουμε στο δεύτερο κομμάτι που αφορά τα πρώτα δύο εργαστήρια. Να πω απλώς μια εισαγωγή. Τα εργαστήρια και τα 5 της Διημερίδας μας, 2 σήμερα και 3 αύριο, έχουν μια πανομοιότυπη δομή. Το σκεπτικό μας ήταν να προσκαλέσουμε ανθρώπους που έχουν εμπειρία στη διδασκαλία του κινηματογράφου και της οπτικοακουστικής έκφρασης να υλοποιήσουν ένα εργαστήριο ως πιθανό μοντέλο, να προτείνουν με έναν τρόπο προσέγγισης. Τους βάλαμε το όριο, το πλαίσιο των 40 λεπτών, ακριβώς για να προσομοιάσουμε, όπως είχα αναφέρει, μια σχολική διδακτική ώρα και είχαν τη δυνατότητα να επιλέξουν ελεύθερα είτε ταινίες μικρού μήκους που χρησιμοποιούν στη δουλειά τους, είτε αποσπάσματα ταινιών μεγάλου μήκους ή άλλα τα οποία θεωρούν ενδιαφέροντα και χρήσιμα για την παρουσίαση ενός τέτοιου μοντέλου διδασκαλίας. Όπως αναφέρθηκε και να συνδέσω το πάνελ της προηγούμενης ενότητας, δουλεύουμε πάνω στην έννοια παρακολουθώ και συζητώ ταινίες, το οποίο είναι ένα αρκετά εφικτό μοντέλο, έχει πάρα πολλές δυνατότητες συζήτησης και πολλές δυνατότητες να κουμπώσει κανείς πάνω του και δραστηριότητες πιο πρακτικές. Ο πρώτος μας καλεσμένος είναι ένας συνεργάτης Γερμανός της Σχολής του Κινηματογράφου του Μονάχου, που όμως εδώ και 15 χρόνια ζει και εργάζεται στην Τουρκία, οπότε εκπροσωπεί, αν θέλετε, και το μεσογειακό τοπίο, ο Andreas Treske. Τον εκτιμώ πάρα πολύ, έχουμε συνεργαστεί στο παρελθόν και ο ίδιος έχει και παρελθόν μοντάζ και διδάσκει πια στο Πανεπιστήμιο.
So, welcome very much. I want to give you quick an idea what I will talk about, and then I want to watch with you together a video. What I want to talk about is our ways of seeing. And my premise I want to make at the very beginning, and if I can share my screen, I will just quickly go on to show you what I'm working actually on, and this is online video, and this is a part of what you can download for free from the internet. I'm sorry, it's a little bit self-promotion. It's a book we brought out now, and you can download it from free from the website of the Institute of Network Cultures. The link can be given later to you. But why I'm saying this at the beginning, this is because the tools, the devices, the screens we're using, like this screen here, they define how we see things. This is the basic premise. And out of this, I would like to do a very much traditional kind of film school, film history viewing of some artifacts. And let's start with Lady Gaga's video. And I would like to ask the host of the session to play the video I sent her. Okay, thanks a lot. The basic question now is for us, what did we see? If I can ask you, what did you see in this video?
So we have some answers from the chat.
Okay.
They're saying a dream, a narrative, an advert for the Armenian Film Festival. Someone read.
Yes.
That's Mark who said that. There was a reference to the movie 8.5 by Fellini. Someone said a video clip, which I guess it's true.
Thank you very much. What I want to do now with you is I want to look at this video clip again. And I have a video on my desktop, and I will open that now, and I will go through with this video with you. Sound is not so important. It's important that you hear me. I put the video on full screen. It's not so important that you see all of the image, but it's important that you see a bit of the image. I'm playing the video, and I'm stopping. Many times what we don't do is we don't look at the artifacts or the films or whatever we would call it, the videos. We look at them frame by frame. We always look them playing and in the full. But if we go frame by frame, this is an exercise I do with my students. I'm sticking there without sound and I'm looking what's happening, what do I see? And here's the first mark I would like to stop. And what I see is a landscape and a horseman. And the horseman reminds me of something. The question is, what does the horseman reminds me of? I continue, and we come to it. So it's a vertical movement. The camera moves up from the bottom, from sand, up on the horizon. We see the horizon, and at the end, at the horizon is this horseman, a black figure, all in black. Now, of course, I have been trained by cinema and by watching many films. And therefore, I have immediately some ideas what this could be. There are already some traces in this image. And I'm thinking of some kind of Italo-Westerns. I'm thinking kind of other Western films. I'm thinking of John Wayne. I'm thinking of some other people, actors, persons, a landscape, dune, horseman, maybe something else. But I'm thinking about something, and I continue going frame to frame. And we see the camera is like a flyover. We unconsciously realize there's a head. It looks like more kind of a Mexican head. And there comes a red dot. Red, a significant color, and a jump cut to the actress, to, of course, Lady Gaga. So I'm continuing in a single screen, frame by frame mode. The camera jumps back, and what this camera is again back in a close-up, and what is very clear for me is that here's something aesthetically happening, which I know from somewhere. But from where do I know that? What kind of a trace is this? So I'm going deep in the boxes, and I'm stopping share screen for a moment, just to ask you again, what does it remind us of? My premise is that we have, could it be Magritte? No, not really. But we're getting close for something, what it could be. What it reminds us of is that we already feel similarity. And what it reminds us of is the color of pomegranate. That would be the film I would hit to. I would say, yes, this is a classic movie, Sergei Parajanov, who has similar colors. Yeah. So what I want to do, I want to look at on YouTube. I found this trailer, and I'm scrolling through the trailer, and what we see is this image. And something is going on, that there is some similarities, and that the director and the makers of the music video reference directly in their first shots and in their pictures a classic film. And with this reference, they make an identification of a style, of an idea, of an aesthetic from the very beginning. So I was wondering, if I go through the video again, let me stop the sharing and switch to the video. Yeah, that they not only adopt the colors, they would do more. Yeah, so I'm going on the video again, sharing the video screen. I'm scrolling through the video faster now. We see we're still outside. We have these very reduced colors, clear colors. We have this style. I'm sticking with the material. A little bit more. Let's finish with Lady Gaga here and think of, okay, what kind of annotations did we go through? What kind of citations do we have here? And I'm loading another video, quick. And wait, just switching this off. This is the original film. We've seen this. Wait, I'm going on the share screen mode. So I'm using the medium where I think my students are mostly used to, that they find easily on their devices, and they would find it through YouTube. So I'm trying to use a search modus while I'm looking and trying to explore what the film is. And I'm coming to the color of pomegranates, and I would like to introduce now some basic concepts of what is behind this film, how do we look at this film, and how could we analyze the stories. But I'm not going into an analyzing or talking about the film. This one, I'm going again inside the film, and would then go inside the film and the net, and would go again by a frame mode. So this is a very much kind of a stronger visual approach, saying like, okay, what is this material made of? In Turkish they say doku. What is the texture of this film? We see here in the color of pomegranates very clear cultural references. So the question is, what does Lady Gaga do with these cultural references? How do they get back in there? So what kind of references have been done, and where do these references lead me to? I have on my computers downloaded some other kind of videos and that, and I'm just going to one video, the minute number 7, which is also on the web. Yeah, so let me just open this and go on share screen again. I have the video and just play this and see what's happening. So it's very clear that the director of the Lady Gaga video had a special purpose to use what is in this original film and to continue working on that. It turns out the director, Tarsem Singh, has cited this film many, many times in his life. And so it's a very clear decision by Lady Gaga's production company to go with him, because you want to have a very specific style, which you at the same time can advertise, and which would be with the release on the 18th of September last month, would directly affect people and would directly get enough attention. So Tarsem Singh has already done many films before where he references Life of Pomegranate and similar films. And there's one more filmmaker he references, and this is Alessandro Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky is famous for a very abstract, expressionistic kind of a Western film, El Topo, and also for the failure of shooting Dune. And with Dune, now Dune is coming into the cinemas, so we will have another reference right now, which goes back to the actual films. I'm looking at the time and see how much I have, but I want to go back to Lady Gaga. I'm going back on share screen and see what I can do there. So we're looking at an artifact right now from today, and we're dealing with a director from India who makes many, many different references to culture and cultural traces to use this in another cultural reference. So when we watch this, let me just scroll through it, that will be easier to go through. You see various elements which we just take for granted. So we are attracted by it, we are attracted by the flow, by the rhythm, by the colors. And the basic premise I did at the very beginning reminds me here again that I think that we have seen this all, and especially our students have seen these kind of things before, but haven't been aware of it. So we already get a kind of a bit and bunch and kilo of a cinematic language, artistic culture, and so on with us. So such a video would be an ideal example just to explore these references and say, okay, how is this put together and what kind of things work there together? The approach in this way would be to use the internet and the network at the same time. And I'm stopping sharing the video and I'm sharing my web browser to go through all the references. So this was the film on YouTube, and this is the cinematography of Pomegranate, and this is Tarsem Singh. So we have Tarsem Singh talking about the films he did and he does, so we can find this easily. We have the IMDb page of Tarsem Singh, where he talks about that he cites a lot these kind of films, and here it's on being inspired by Sergei Parajanov. I showed Parajanov to Kodak, and they said that's not the kind of thing the new generation would like, but he is doing this in various films. And his most famous film from 2006, I guess, is The Fall, where he already cited these kind of things. So this would be one specific focus, but the other focus from the very first image would be this director, and this is Sergio Leone. And with Sergio Leone, all these kind of Italo-Westerns we would find again on Netflix and another channel. So I'm switching this away. This is Alessandro Jodorowsky. And with Alessandro Jodorowsky, let me just play this for a second. This is El Topo. So basically, every image in a pop artifact right now has the cinematic load. We have the Dune documentary, and at final thing when I'm surfing through this is the Dune trailer, which would run right now, and I'm stopping sharing here. So what I did with you now again is a very, very fast run through. Actually, what I would do in the class, if I have more time, or 2 hours, I would spend more time to go silent without the sounds, frame by frame, through these images, and then go back to the different sources, and then go back to other similarities. And the basic thing I would use for this is what I do in classes. I start surveying with the students. I start surveying from my links to their links to different kind of connections on our devices, and then come back to watching this material in the form as it is presented there, and then asking the questions again about what you think about it. There's a clear reference to an Armenian film festival. There is the accident at the end, which has a very different shooting style and different colors. There is a Francis Ford Coppola citation at the very end when the camera goes back, which says a lot about the director, and it says a lot about that the generation of filmmakers now came from such a school. So they ran through such a school. I hope I didn't make it too fast now, because I was thinking you might have questions, and I was thinking like we can share all these links, and then give some more kind of keywords and stuff for discussions. To sum up, I'm using Lady Gaga just to catch attention, yeah? Going through it because I want to learn something from this as well. As a filmmaker, I want to know how did they do this. Everyone is cooking only with salt, yeah. I mean, everyone does what we know. There's nothing new since the 1920s, since early silent film, the key points of the golden age of cinema. So what is new is how do we mix the whole thing, and what is new is that the technologies we're using. And especially now under COVID, where we can't go to cinemas maybe, are much, much more cinematic than they have been in the past. Our telephones are more cinematic. And so we are getting used to this language, and this language is with us. And there's already with our kids. So I have 10-year-old kids, 8-year-old kids, which make fantastic movies on their iPads. And they already have Star Wars on their iPads in the form of how would the Jedi Knight fight the scene, do something, I don't know. So these references and to being aware of cinematic language comes back to the questions, how do we see things? And when we're teaching film, then film would be the vehicle, the carrier for reflecting on many ways on seeing. And then, of course, going detail by detail, point by point, shot by shot, frame by frame, being aware of the borders of each of the frames, being aware when the camera gets us inside and gets us outside, and how all these things operate. So we're getting much, much more aware of operative technologies while we are seeing, and seeing is an operative technology. So I would stop here. I hope it was understandable and the translators could follow.
Andreas, first of all, thank you very much for the timing. Excellent, teacher. So, very interesting and very out of the box. I agree very much in what you said, that many things have already been said. I also feel this as an expert spectator, because obviously young people don't have these cultural references often, but we can imply them, or we can show them that there have been some things before that inspired modern creativity. So I agree very much with this idea to attract attention.
Let me say something there, Maria. They might not have the cultural references, but we are dealing with algorithms and we have these auto feeds. So some of the suggestions in the auto feeds are already doing these cultural references. And it's very interesting to look at the sidelines and see what's coming up there. There's a huge difference between me and my students, because my students have different references there because they don't have these historical ones. My algorithm, the one who is observing me on my web use, they will show me Parayanov. My students will not get it, but it's very interesting to discuss these differences and then guide the students through it, because we come at the end to similar results there.
Can you get back to this, what you said, that you come to similar results? Through which ways? What do you mean?
Well, it's like a Flannery journey through the web. You come through different observations. So it's not only how you get the keywords in and you watch something and you have suggestions as the site. The suggestions going back much more to your web history or to your device history. So that's what the algorithms do automatically. So there's a huge difference between me and my students. And not only between me and my students, between every participant here in this virtual room. Where we come back together is that we realize where we overlap when we're discussing and when we're talking about this. And these put this together, and that would help us to cycle around such cultural artifacts. And in teaching film, the basic element that I'm seeing there is, for me, the importance was then to always come back where you started. So always come back to the very first idea you had and to the very first video you watched. So I'm always going back to Lady Gaga.
Μπορώ να μιλήσω?
Ναι.
Andreas?
Hello,
Jens Alnar, attendade. The secretary with my beautiful Turkish. I've been tasked with commenting tomorrow at the end of the workshops, but at this point, I would like to ask a very brief clarifying question, if anything, and thank you very much for the extremely interesting presentation and suggestion. The question is whether the cultural references you suggested came from you or from the students through the discussion. And of course, you said something about the algorithms in the end, which is extremely useful to bear in mind. But I would like to clarify at this point, please, whether these references with other films came from you or from the students through guided discussion, presumably. Thank you.
The first came, of course, from me, but I didn't use it at the beginning in the teaching. That was the pomegranate, which did not come from the students. What from the students came was Sergio Leone. And so the suggestions for Western and to look in these kind of things. And then came ideas like one of the participants said about the color Magritte. Then came some other kind of references. Now, of course, we have students which are, the average age in my class is about 20, 21. They have had a course before in kind of introductory art courses and these kind of things. Some of them are cinephile, they watch a lot. One suggestion of the student was already Star Wars at some part, and for some images. But pomegranate, the color of pomegranate, was not on their agenda and was not suggested in their YouTube algorithms there. But it was somewhere down there, but it didn't get the attention.
But you did ask them what kind of films the video reminds them of, yeah? At some point you did ask? Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't work out here so much because also I'm a little bit nervous, or the setup is a little bit complicated. But what I'm trying to figure out is, and how I learned it in film school actually, is this: when you simulate a kind of an editing situation. So what students love is the process. So when you include them into the process, like we are redoing this video, and now we are flying with our drone over the beach, and we're going up in the sky, and we see the silhouette of the horseman, and then we come down and we see Lady Gaga. How do we want to see her? And then we follow this shot by shot. The students getting excited because they are recalling the moment and try to restore the moment. And then the question comes is, what do you want to see next, and what is the filmmaker showing you? This is something what you can do, or what I do. I'm guiding the student towards the next point. I'm trying to do this. This is of course a little bit manipulative in some ways, but on the other side, I'm curious about the associations they have.
Thank you.
And then continue.
Andreas, that was a very interesting idea, to guide the students and ask them what they want to see next. So as if they would be on their working table, putting shots one next to the other. Of course, the editor knows what raw materials he has or she has. The students now probably just imagine a second, another level of how could they pile up the next bit of the story. But that's an interesting concept, if I understand it well.
Right. Now, this is the one part of it, and the other part of it is a little bit very meditative, and I apologize sometimes for my students because they're not used to that. This is the silence. And I learned this silence from my teachers, from Helmut Ferber or Harun Farocki, who were sitting at the editing table, 35mm table, and would go frame by frame and would wait that somebody says something. Now, waiting for somebody saying something is very, very tiring. And then when you look at image by image as a film, it's also for this generation very, very difficult. It's for us very difficult. So we're not used to it. So there is this kind of discipline you're getting while you're looking back at the material. And then sometimes I have to trust my audience more than myself, because they might say something what I would not expect they would say. And then I need to be able to continue there, or to guide it further, or go a step back if I can't.
Okay, thank you very much.